If you've got questions, we've got answers. AM 1170, The Answer.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170, The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty. Joined in studio by Jason Hall with Team Home Loans. We got David Kreza, also part of the Whissel Realty team. And our special guest today, Mr. Lance Growth with Asset Exchange Company. Lance, welcome to the studio.
Thanks, man. I got a drum roll and everything.
Yeah, you having some fun this morning?
I am. It's pretty cool.
we like to have a good time here, you know. As it's been a long day of work for everybody. They're driving home right now. You know, 7 o'clock drive time. We got to have some fun.
Hear ya.
So I want to get into it. Asset Exchange Company. What do you guys do?
We're a qualified intermediary. Most people know us as an accommodator. We're the legally required party to a 1031 exchange.
Okay. So we do a lot of residential real estate. You know, there's a lot of people that are buying homes to live in. It's going to be their primary residence, all that fun stuff. But we also work with a lot of investors. And so at what point does a company like yours come into play where you can actually help somebody?
Well, we come into play whenever they hit escrow.
Okay.
You know, whenever those purchase documents are signed, and then the escrow agent has that information that she can go and create a preliminary title report.
Okay.
But we like to tell everyone, let us know prior. You know, as soon as you list that thing, let us know, hey, I plan on doing a 1031 exchange, so we can get our documents in order and we can put everybody on notice.
Okay. So if somebody's never heard of a 1031 exchange before, like break that down in layman's terms. What does that mean? What is it, a 1031 exchange?
In layman's terms, I got like verbatim definitions stuck in my head. A 1031 exchange allows people who use property for business or investment purposes to defer capital gains on the sale of the property. So they'll exchange into another property. So you hold a property, a rental property. You sell it, over the years it's appreciated. Maybe you bought it at 100, now it's 500,000. When you sell that, you're not going to incur normal income taxes. You're actually going to incur capital gains taxes. So from 100 to 500,000, that's 400,000 worth of appreciation. And between state tax, federal tax, and your depreciation recapture tax, you can probably expect to encounter 33% worth of taxes that you're going to have to pay to Uncle Sam. To continue your investment, if you want to go into another investment, if you do a 1031 exchange, we can help you defer those taxes so you don't have to pay them on the sale of your property. You just exchange into another property.
Okay, so in that particular scenario, again, if somebody bought something for 100, sold it for 400, you know, there's going to be a few fees here and there that they can write off, but they're going to have about 400,000 worth of gain.
You said bought it for 100, sold it for 400.
Well,
your,
for 500.
your example, yeah. If we use your example,
Sold it for
33%.
500, so they got about 400,000 of gain.
Yeah.
If they go and just put that money in the bank, they're looking at 30+%
right?
tax. So I mean, you're talking $100,000+ in taxes they're going to pay on it. So that's where you guys can come into play. Instead of them paying those taxes, they can defer it. And again, what do they have to do to qualify? So if they, let's say somebody's listening to the show right now and they're in a situation like this and they want to sell that investment property, what do they, like, what does the process look like?
Well, the process is they call me, and as soon as they get into escrow, I call their escrow agent. The escrow agent gives me the purchase documents and the preliminary title, and we set them up to get an exchange account. But on their end, I can break it down in 4 steps. Just 1, does it qualify? 2, how do you defer all your taxes? 3, the identification period, and 4, the entire time they have to exchange this.
Okay.
The property qualifies if it's held for business or investment purposes.
Okay.
When they want to defer all their taxes, when they sell, they have to exchange into another property.
Okay.
So that property that they exchange into have to be of equal or greater value for what they sold. So if they sold for 400, then they have to get another property of 400 or above.
Okay.
And then from the close of escrow on their sale property, they have 45 days to identify another property. That means they have to, in writing, say, here, Lance, here's my another property I plan to exchange into. And then the entire exchange takes about 180 days from the close of escrow on their sale property, from the close of escrow on their purchase property.
Okay.
So that's everything in a nutshell, but
it
gets complicated sometimes.
Okay. Again, you're listening to Whissel Wednesdays here on AM 1170. We're talking with Lance Growth with Asset Exchange Company. If you've got questions for Lance, give us a call, shoot us a text, 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. So you said the new property's got to be at least
equal or greater
value than the previous property.
And it's your net sales price. So the same example, we sell a property at $500,000. It's after your non-reoccurring closing costs. So you pay your title, you pay your escrow, you pay all those fees. You'll probably end up about, let's just say for good example purposes, $450.
Yeah.
Then you have to purchase another property of $450 or greater in value for you to have all of your taxes deferred.
Okay. And now, does it have to be a single property that they go and purchase? Could they purchase multiple properties? How does that work?
Yeah, they can purchase multiple properties because a lot of people get confused by the term like kind. So like kind one is they think you have to. So I sell one big unit, I have to buy another big unit.
Right.
If I sell a condo, I got to buy a condo. If I sell a house, I got to buy a house. That's what they think.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not the case. It's actually a very broad term. It's real estate. So if you sell a condo, you can go out and buy a piece of raw land. If you have
commercial real estate.
Exactly. If you have a piece of raw land, you can go and buy a commercial real estate building of a 60-unit complex. Just as long as when you acquired the property, your intent was to use that real estate for business or investment purposes. So it's mainly the intent, not the structure. And the other focus is make sure you get above that value. If you sold for 450, buy for 450 or above. The only difference is if you fall short, so you sold for 450, but you only purchased for 400 and you didn't reinvest the 50, then you'll be taxed on that 50.
Got it.
Nice.
Okay. And so we worked with a client, a year or so ago, and they sold something in, a vacation rental property on the beach for 2.7, and they didn't want to have to go buy, a $2.8 million property.
Yeah.
So they wanted to buy a bunch of, individual houses around the county. So is there a limit to how many houses they could buy, or is it as many as they want as long as it adds up to higher than that 2.7 number?
Well, there's no limit. They can identify as many properties as they want as long as it adds up to that. The different ways that we see that is in the identification period. Because to identify a piece of property, you can do it in two ways. You can use a 3-property rule or you can use the 200% rule.
All right, so let's break down each of those. So how does the 3-property rule work?
So the 3-property rule, from the close of escrow, you have 45 days to identify a piece of property, right? So if you use the 3-property rule, which most people commonly do, they're not going out and buying a bunch of different properties. They'll say they'll buy one unit and then they'll sell one unit and they buy 1 or 2 units. So the 3-property rule is simple. You can identify 3 properties and it doesn't matter the valuation, just as long as it's at or above, but it can be whatever in terms of price. So 3 properties, 3 options. The 200% rule is actually for guys that sell property and they go for your exact option where they're going to sell one big thing and they're purchasing a number of little properties.
Right.
I actually had a guy last week. He sold a property in La Jolla and he's going to Ohio and he's buying
Whole state?
Half the state.
yes, he's buying I'm getting each and every one on this block.
Well, I know if you went to Detroit, you'd have to buy more than Detroit, right, David?
Detroit and Ohio.
But here's
a little bit of both.
here's the verbatim rule is and this is just for the identification, not the actual acquisition. You can identify as many properties as you want, just as long as you do not exceed 200% of your initial sales price.
Okay.
So for a quick example, we sell for $1 million. We can identify as many properties as we want, just as long as the aggregate sum doesn't exceed $2 million, because $2 million is 200% of $1 million. Okay. And that rule is just so when we tell people, hey, you have to identify your properties, they just don't throw the whole MLS at us.
Right, they don't give you 10 million properties because they don't know which one yet. Now, you said you're legally required, right?
Yeah.
They're legally required. So can you explain that? Because I don't think most investors or people who are thinking about investing or possibly selling, and they just hear like, hey, it's 1031. I can just jump online and just fill out my own form.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like doing the Quicken app, right? Or doing a mortgage app. They think they can save a buck or they think they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
Where I know you truly need a professional, but can you explain that?
Well, one, we are required part. It's written in the code that you need an accommodator because the money.
So the IRS won't accept it.
No,
if you don't have an accommodator.
No, it won't be successful because the crux of a 1031 is this: the exchanger can never be in constructive receipt of the funds. So that means they can never have any dominion, any control, any say in that money once it leaves them. And that money, when it's out of their reach, needs to be in kind of like a trusted party to the IRS. It's like we have a special relationship with the IRS that we're agent of the IRS to say we're going to ensure that this luxury.
Right, you're going to hold these funds
exactly,
and you're going to make sure they're put in correctly in all the proper forms. If not, you're going to release that money to the IRS or
exactly.
Portion.
We take their funds and we put it in a custodial account. Make sure it's a liquid account so that once we get their wire transfer fees, we can quickly put them into the next property. But you need an accommodator. It's actually a required part of the code because if you have if you have anyone trying to do a 1031 exchange and just say, hey, I just put it in my savings. Said, okay, that's cool.
It's already done. You're done.
Don't even call me, I swear.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do, right? At that point,
No.
and how many people make mistakes? I mean,
I got a call yesterday. A guy calls me and say, hey, escrow closed on the 12th. Is there anything you can do? And I had to tell him, I can't. It's you're just open for exposure and getting audited. You're in constructive receipt of those funds, and we can't do anything because that's the crux. The exchanger, the client, can never realize gain. That's why it's an exchange. You're going from one
so
vehicle
don't
to
wait.
the next.
That's the key. Don't wait.
Exactly.
Call Lance. Get a hold of him. Lance, what's your information again?
You can call me at lance@ax1031. Email me at lance@ax1031.com, or you can call me at 323-570-1031.
Kyle, I know we're getting ready to go to a break, but can we talk about reverse 1031 when we come back?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to head to a break here on Whissel Wednesdays. But again, if you want to connect with Lance at Asset Exchange Company, 323-570-1031. When we get back, Lance, I want to talk about the reverse exchange. People have heard of this, but a lot of people don't know how this works. So we're going to get high level when we get back here on Whissel Wednesdays, AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer. And AM 1170, TheAnswer.com.